Hey there, crafty friends. My name's Misty and welcome to Gleespen Designs. Today is my first Halloween video of 2022, so let's get crafting. For this DIY, I'm starting off with a stick that I got from right outside. So you just grab a stick from outside and then you will need a Dollar Tree styrofoam cone. They do have two different sizes now. This is the larger one out of the two, and I just use my scissors to make a nice size hole into the styrofoam cone, large enough so that we can add our stick down inside, and you do want to make it a few inches deep as well so that it does hold up better. Then I add a nice amount of hot glue and I squeeze around that styrofoam so that it is nice and tight. Because this styrofoam is a super white, bright white color, we're going to use a baby wipe and some antiquing wax, and I just kind of rub it in so that it has a little bit more of a beige color to it, enough that it matches our hula skirt that is from Dollar Tree. I folded the hula skirt in half and then just tied those strings together. You don't necessarily have to do this step. I just did it so that you kind of double up your hula skirt and you don't have to wrap it around the cone as many times. When it comes time to add the hula skirt to your now broom handle, you're going to place the hot glue right above where that styrofoam cone is so that when you wrap it, it will be nice and even. If you place the glue on top of the cone, it will be like a lot more bulky and you just want it to nice evenly flow. And here is what I mean by how we don't have to wrap our hula skirt around as many times, because we did double that up and folded the hula skirt over and tied those strings together, and now you just continue wrapping that hula skirt around until it is completely wrapped. And just like in my last video, I do want to apologize if my voice keeps going in and out a little bit. I am still getting over a cold, so I do truly apologize about that. Because the hula skirt is so long, I do just take my scissors and do a really messy cutting job so that it doesn't look completely perfect. You can make it look perfect if you would like, but I did want to have a more of a realistic, witchy, spooky, messy look. To give it a little bit more of that realistic look, I add some Dollar Tree jute twine right where the broom handle and then the hula skirt / broom head meets, and I just wrap it a bunch of times and then cut off the excess and glue it down once I have it wrapped enough to where I like the look. So here's the thing, those styrofoam cones weigh absolutely nothing, of course, they're styrofoam. So I'm using this Dollar Tree wood round and again that baby wipe with the antiquing wax just to kind of darken that color up a little bit, add some hot glue, and I'm going to glue it to the bottom of that styrofoam cone so that our broom now stands up on its own. So basically this wood round is adding that extra weight that it needs to have the broom stand straight up. Now this is just personal preference on the length of the hula skirt, but you can cut it shorter or even have it longer if you would like. I found these cute little Halloween hanging signs from Dollar Tree, and the Witch's Inn is absolutely perfect. So unfortunately I thought I was recording and wasn't, but I just glued it right to the stick about halfway up. And then I'm going to use these really neat, sparkly black and orange Halloween ball picks from Dollar Tree, and I just add some hot glue and place those on either side of the sign, kind of placing one going upwards and one going down towards the bottom. And then for the cute little bow, I'm going to be using this mesh tube ribbon from Dollar Tree. I hold it in my hand to where I have a little bit of a tail, and you can wrap it around as many loops as you would like. Then I just cut off the excess, take that excess piece and cut another piece off of it, and then I just place that between my fingers and tie it in a knot, kind of keeping those loops all together and cinched at the center. And with just like any other bow, you play around with your loops and cut down your tails if you have tails. And then I just hot glued this cute little bow right on top of our little sign, and this adorable stand-alone witch's broom is done. I would love to know what you guys think of this witch's broom DIY down in the comments. Today's video is part of a Haunted Halloween Open Invite Challenge playlist. It is hosted by Jackie from Crafting in Mimi's World and Ellie from DIY from House to Home, and guest host is me, Gleespen Designs. For this playlist, our challenge is to make at least one haunted house DIY. There will also be many other people participating, so I will leave the link down below in the description box so you can go and check out all of those videos as well and let them know that I sent you. Now, back to the crafts. For this DIY, I'm using one of these folding lanterns from Dollar Tree. They're actually pretty neat. They are a really nice size as well, and definitely something fun that the kids could do. They are super easy to put together. They just have these little tabs, and you just stick the tops together, and boom, you have a cute lantern. However, for this DIY, you will need to cut this lantern apart, and all you will need is one of the pieces with this haunted house on it. You could save the other pieces for another really neat DIY. Now, taking the side with the haunted house on it, I do also cut off that frame, and then I take my scissors and I get in there and I get a lot closer to that haunted house. It doesn't have to be super close and right up on it, but you do want to get rid of a lot of that shiny plastic. Dollar Tree has two different sizes of these cloches. This is the larger of the two sizes, and I want to add the haunted house to the inside of this cloche, and to do that I'm going to add a little bit of Mod Podge down at the bottom of the haunted house, and also adding a little bit up at the top on the peaks of the haunted house. I don't want to add a whole bunch of Mod Podge or Mod Podge even covering the entire thing, just in case it wasn't going to be as transparent, but this way it worked out absolutely perfect. And now I just take the haunted house, place it up inside the cloche, and place it down with my fingers. Once the haunted house is glued on, you will want to set this aside until the Mod Podge completely dries. Now, at first I was going to use the tea light that came with the lantern from Dollar Tree, but as I was adding the floral moss, I did realize it is a multi-color tea light, and I personally prefer just the normal white light tea light, so I did switch that out, and then I did want to paint the tea light black down at the bottom so that it kind of blends in with the bottom of our cloche a little bit better. To make this a little bit more creepy, I also used some spider webs that I got from Mark's for 89 cents. You could use Dollar Tree spider webs if you would like, but I just kind of fluffed it out and pulled it out so that it wasn't so, I guess, dense and thick, and you can kind of see that light shining through it a little bit more. And once I had enough down inside the cloche, I did go ahead and add a few spiders as well. Once you have whatever creepy, crawly, spooky, scary stuff you would like to put inside your cloche, all you have to do is just place that lid right back on, and you could leave it just like this. But of course, you guys know me, and I have to go a few steps further. So Dollar Tree has metal ribbon, and this is my favorite style out of the few styles that they carry. And this is the last bit that I had left, and it fit perfect going around this cloche. So it just must have been meant to be. So I wrapped it around and glued it down into place. And then I take my black chalk paint and I do go ahead and paint that metal ribbon with the black chalk paint. Once the metal ribbon was painted, to elevate this cloche, I'm using one of these glass candle holders from Dollar Tree. I also painted it black as well. And then you're just going to add some hot glue up at the top of the candlestick holder and place it onto the bottom of your cloche. And once you have glued the candlestick to the bottom of your cloche, I did go ahead and add a few little extra teeny tiny spiders, but here's how this DIY turned out. For this DIY, well, I don't know if it's a DIY or just a really cute hack. So I'm using several different cubes from Dollar Tree, wood cubes, blocks. You could use other items as well, like styrofoam round balls, several other items as well. Trust me, you can walk through Dollar Tree and find many things that you can do this with. All I did was take these Halloween balloons, cut the longer part of the balloon off, and then you just stretch it over your cube or your whatever you're using. You could do this with toy balls or even Christmas bulbs and just cut off the hanger, and then you have round decorative balls as well. The balloon is super easy to stretch right over these wood cubes and these dice. Now that smaller wood cube that is on my desk, it did not work because the wood cube was too small and the balloon was just too baggy over top of it. I wanted to have several different sizes of cubes in my decorative bowl, so I grabbed a few different sizes. I did a few and then I let my son do the rest. I cut the balloons for him and he put them on the cubes. He had such a fun time doing that, so this could be a fun DIY for your kiddos as well. Then we added them to a spooky bowl from Dollar Tree, added some decorative balls and some succulents, and I love how these turned out. For this DIY, I'm starting off with 4 of these wood trays from Dollar Tree. It really doesn't matter what the shape is on the side, but you do want to have 4 of these trays. I want to be able to remove the back of this tray so that I can place the sides on top of the other tray so that our shelf has a little bit more depth to it. So I'm heating up the glue going around the tray, and then I just take my thumbs pressing in at one of the corners and start popping that backing off of the tray. You will want to repeat the same steps on one of the other trays, and here's what I mean by that glue. You see that shininess in there? That is what you're going to want to heat up, and you could use a hair blow dryer for this as well if you don't have a heat gun, but just heat that glue up so that you can pop that backing right off. I used my zip sander to just sand down any of the edges in case there is any glue left over or any splintering of the wood. Now you should have 2 trays without backs and 2 trays with backs. So take one of the sides to the trays, and I used the super glue wood glue from Dollar Tree, and I place it going all the way around the tray, and then I glue it down on top of one of the full trays. Then I just repeated the same steps with the other 2 pieces of trays, adding the super glue wood glue around the bottom of that tray and then placing it on top of the other full tray. Did you know that Dollar Tree sells many different sizes and styles of these wood crates? Yeah, I definitely did not know that until just like super recently. They have these 2 sizes with the sides where they have the holes in the side, and then they have these 2 smaller ones where they do not have holes in the sides. I'm going to be using 3 of the smaller crates with the holes in the sides, and I'm going to use that super glue wood glue again and my hot glue, and I just take these 3 crates, adding that glue on either side, and I glue these 3 crates together. Once those 3 crates are glued together, you will need 4 of these crates with the slits in the side of the wood. The crates that we just used do not have the slits in the side, but do have the handles on the sides of the crate. Along with these crates, you will need 2 of these wood drawers from Dollar Tree. It really does not matter what the image is on the front. I take one of these wood drawers and I start adding some of that super glue wood glue to the side, as well as a little bit of hot glue for immediate hold, and then I glue it to the side of that crate. The backs do not match up exactly, but if that bothers you in the end, you could add a piece of poster board or whatever you would like to cover up the backing to your haunted house. Then I use that super glue wood glue and hot glue again to glue that wood crate to the other side of that wood drawer. I did pull out the wood drawer just because we will not be needing that, and then I do the same exact steps to the other 3 pieces, the 2 crates and that wood drawer, and I just glue the 2 crates on either side. Now that I have those pieces done, I take all 3 of the pieces that I just created and I add some super glue wood glue as well as a little bit of hot glue on the side of the centerpiece, which is the 3 crates that we glued together in the beginning, and I glue that to the side of the longer piece so that there is 2 of those longer shelves on either side of that centerpiece, which again is those 3 crates. Once we have all of these shelving units completed, we're going to add the larger shelving units at the bottom that we made in the beginning. And again, I just add some of that super glue, wood glue, and hot glue, and I'm going to glue them side by side. And I love the fact that these are just so deep and you can add bigger and larger items inside these shelving spaces. Again, I truly apologize about my voice, you guys. It is like 2 o'clock in the morning and I am trying so hard to get this video done so I can get it out in time for you all. But so just bear with me. We will definitely get through this together. But back to the craft, I just glued those larger shelves to that other shelving piece, and then we are going to use a Dollar Tree house. And I just wanted to show you they have several different sizes. I had this one from a previous DIY and I removed the back from it, which is okay because we are just going to glue that right back on. I was going to use this piece as the back. Oh my goodness, my voice, you guys, I'm so sorry. But I was going to use that like tombstone piece as the backing, but I didn't want the light to show through. Oh my goodness. So I glued the backing back onto the house and then glued that wood tombstone, which is from Dollar Tree, to the backing of the house. I did fill in that hole on the tombstone with some Dollar Tree spackling. Then I add some regular wood glue as well as some hot glue. And I just glued this house right up here in the center between those 2 larger side pieces on our house shelf. To make the side peaks on the house, I'm using these bird houses from Dollar Tree. One I had previously painted for a different project, but I make millions of projects and do not finish them. So I heat up that glue on that little perch stick for the bird and pull the stick out. Which, to be honest with you guys, looking back, I don't even know why I did that because I completely cut that section off of the birdhouse anyways. So yeah, do as I say and not as I do, and you don't even have to pull those little sticks out. So next I take a piece of a craft stick, popsicle stick, whatever you would like to call it, and I just kind of start where those curves are on the circle, the larger circle that is on the birdhouse. And I kind of trace that out, but going straight down so that I can create this eerie, spooky window look. Once I have the shape that I want drawn out, I use my utility knife to just cut those pieces out. And I just go over those lines a few times and then you can very easily pop that little piece out. And now you have this long, spooky window. Then I do the same exact steps with the second birdhouse, tracing out that window, cutting it out, and then I use my zip sander to go ahead and sand down any rough edges. Once we have our windows all sanded down, I take the wood glue and I add way too much at first. I do have to remove some, and then I add some hot glue and I glue the window up here at the top on the side of our crate. And you guessed it, of course, we are going to repeat those same exact steps, gluing the second window down over on the other side of the wood crate up here on top. Oh my goodness, I am loving how this is turning out already. I am so excited and I cannot wait to show you guys the final reveal. This next step is not something that you necessarily have to do, but it does give the house a lot more of a finished look. And I just use some Dollar Tree spackling and I go through where the crates are and I fill in all of those little cracks. Once the spackling was dry, I just use a piece of my zip sander sandpaper and go ahead and sand all of that spackling down. Next, you're going to take that backing piece to these larger shelves that we took off in the beginning, and we are going to use this to cover up those holes in the sides of the shelves here so that we do not have these random holes. You could use them as windows if you would like, but I decided not to do that. Instead, I just marked down the size that I needed, and I used my shears to cut those wood pieces down, which you could definitely use scissors as well for these wood pieces. They are super thin and very easy to cut. So one of these backings will make both sides of the piece that you need to cover up those holes, and then it no longer looks like you have any holes on the side of your shelf piece. I also cut the second backing down to the other tray so that we have two pieces for our other shelf as well. I then again used the wood glue and hot glue to glue that piece right up against the side so that those holes were covered. And once again, you are going to repeat the same steps over and glue all of those pieces down so that those sides are covered. I wanted to take this second to say hello and thank you all so very much for watching my videos, and just let you guys know how much I truly appreciate every single one of you. Now that the haunted house shelf is all put together, I use my black chalk paint and I paint the entire thing black except for inside the windows. And for the windows, I use a small paintbrush and my white Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the color Linen White, and I go ahead and just paint the inside of the windows. Using this folk art metallic gunmetal gray paint, I add it onto a tissue and I just start dabbing it onto that tombstone up at the top of our house. I don't know if it would be a tombstone or a cross now. It just looks really neat and I like how it looks. So I dab it on there until I like the look of it. Then I also take a little tiny paintbrush and I go along some of the shelving units on our haunted house shelf just to give it a little bit more character. And speaking of giving it more character, this next part I'm super obsessed with. I use these bamboo sticks. I have missed these. I have not used them in quite some time. And if you've been watching my channel for any amount of time, I use these all the time usually, so it's very rare that I go several videos without using them. So I actually cut these down. I had stained these with a black stain a long time ago, and I just cut them down, and I'm going to use these sticky dots from Dollar Tree. They are actually a Velcro sticky dot, I should say. And I fold them over so that they stick to each other how they should. And then I start cutting them into 4 separate pieces. I take one of the pieces of Velcro and place it on either side of those little boards, and then I place them up on the window. And the purpose of this is so that you can easily remove those wood boards on your windows to turn your lights on and off that will be inside the windows, if you do decide to put lights in your windows like I did mine. I wanted to pay a little bit of extra special attention to detail, so I added some black chalk paint with a little tiny brush on top of those Velcro pieces so that they blended in with the back of the house and you could not see any of that white Velcro. I wasn't sure on what I was going to put on top of the tombstone on top of the haunted house, but I decided to use these letters that I got from Amazon. I will have these linked down below, as well as the bamboo sticks down below in the description box in case you'd like to check them out. I did go ahead and choose RIP, and I painted them white, and then I used a little bit of antique wax and just an old brush to kind of give them a little bit of a dirtier old look. Once the letters were dry, I used some Dollar Tree super glue and I just added the glue on the back of the letters and then glued them to the top of the tombstone right in the center. Dollar Tree has so many different options that you could choose from. You could use sticker letters, a paint pen, rub-on transfers. There really is so many different options on what you could add on top of your tombstone. As I was gluing these letters on, I kind of thought that there was just a little bit too much black. A lot of Halloween decor is black, so there will be a lot of black going inside of the haunted house. So I decided to use some of this really nice Dollar Tree peel and stick wallpaper. You guys, it is now 4:44 in the morning, so please bear with me. But I use the peel and stick wallpaper. I cut it down to the size that I needed to fit inside each one of the shelves. And I really think this makes the haunted house really pop so much more. And if I had more of the wallpaper, I would have even possibly put it on the backing of each one of the shelves. I think that would have looked really nice, and then just had all of the sides black. That would look really, really nice as well. See what I mean? Look at that. I think that looks so amazing. And then to also kind of make those wood pieces on our windows go with the shelves now a little bit more, I do take some white chalk paint and I just do a dry brush technique, adding a little bit of white chalk paint onto each one of those boards. And once you have those all painted, look at how this all goes together now. It looks so great. Now I'm going to use some tea lights, and if I would have made my windows a tiny bit, and I mean this would probably fit in there if I pushed it a little bit, but it was very easy to just pop off the top to make the light just come out, which even makes it brighter, so that is a plus as well. But I just pop 2 of those tea lights out, and then I'm placing them inside our windows just by removing the Velcro wood pieces and then placing them back on. And once that is done, you can decorate your haunted house shelf any way that you would like. I will have all these little tiny haunted house tiered tray decor pieces uploaded in another video and possibly in some YouTube shorts, so definitely keep a lookout for those if you would like to know how I made all of those little decor pieces inside our haunted house. But I would absolutely love to know what you guys think of this haunted house DIY down in the comments. This DIY is definitely my favorite Halloween DIY of all time. Dollar Tree carries these casket-shaped signs. I went ahead and removed the hanger, and they are reversible, so it does not matter what side you use. And you are going to need 2 longer signs from Dollar Tree. It does not have to be these exact signs. I know I have 3 here, but I did only end up using 2. To create the sides to the casket, I hold up one of these longer Dollar Tree signs, and I just use my pen and start marking it down the areas where I know I need to measure and cut. I used my utility knife to just score the wood a few times, and then I bend it back and forth and it just snaps right off. And I do take my zip sander and sand it down so it is nice and smooth. This one sign piece is going to be both of the longer sides to our casket, so I mark it at its halfway point, which is about 3 inches, and then I draw a line down the center so I know where to take my utility knife, score it, bend it back and forth, and break it apart. And once again, I do sand it down to make sure it is nice and smooth. If you do not have any of the long signs from Dollar Tree, you definitely can make this from the Dollar Tree foam board as well. Once we have those longer sides done, we need to make the smaller sides for up closer to the top of the casket. So I just place the longer side on that we just made for reference. I hold it up and then take the second long Dollar Tree sign, place it up against that side, and mark where I need to cut it. Once I had that piece cut, again, I sand it so it is nice and smooth. Then I take the longer side piece to our casket that we already have cut and finished, and I'm just going to hold it up because it is the size that we need. I mark it down, and then I use my utility knife to cut those two pieces in half. And then once we do that, we have our two smaller top side pieces to our casket. So that means we have the two longer side pieces to the casket as well as those two top shorter side pieces to the casket. That means all we have left is the top and the bottom, and the top and the bottom I'm going to make the same length, and that is the length of the top here. So I am going to again take my piece of that longboard sign, whatever you want to call it, from Dollar Tree, and I measure how long that piece is up at the top. Then I just take my ruler and mark where I need to cut it. Again, you always want to measure twice and cut once. And like I said, this is going to be the top and the bottom piece to our casket. So I mark it in the center, which again is about 3 inches. And then I am going to cut that piece in half. So once again, we have our top and our bottom. I made the bottom of my casket the same size as the top piece of the casket, just so that it had a little bit more hanging over on the sides, because the bottom of the casket is obviously thinner than the top of the casket, and with that piece, the casket will stand up very, very well. You'll see what I mean here in just a few minutes. Next, I'm going to take some of these Dollar Tree skewer sticks. They are absolutely huge. You could use whatever Dollar Tree dowel rods, skewer sticks. You could even use a few Jenga blocks for this, or even outline the entire inside with the Jenga blocks as well. All I'm going to do is make the skewer sticks the exact same size as the sides to our casket. So I just hold it up to the side of the casket and then cut it with my shears. And you are going to want to make one of these for each one of the sides to your casket. So that means you will need 6 skewer stick pieces total. Once you have the sides and the dowel rod pieces cut, you can start assembling your casket, and it really is super, super easy and simple. All I did was add some wood glue and hot glue down to the bottom side of our side, and then I place it right up against the side of the casket sign from Dollar Tree. Once I have that side on, for some extra security, I take some hot glue and I make a nice bead going all the way down in that crease on the side, and I add that skewer stick right down in that glue so that it adheres to the side of the sign as well as the bottom of the sign, and now it is all nice and secure. Then I just move on to doing the top smaller side piece by again adding that wood glue and hot glue, gluing it to the side of our casket sign, and then placing some wood glue down that crease and adding our dowel rod to keep it nice and secure. Once you have those two side pieces done, you can move on to the other sides. I found it easier to do the two side pieces and then the top and the bottom, just because it all fits really well that way. And again, I add that wood glue, hot glue, glue it to the side, and add our dowel rod. Again, it is super repetitive. You're just going to keep placing these side pieces on until you have both of those side pieces, and then you can move on to the top and the bottom. For the top and the bottom, you're going to pretty much do the exact same thing, except for with these, you're going to add the glue on the sides and as well on the bottom, so it completely adheres to the casket. And now that the top is on, you can add your glue and then place the dowel rod down inside as well. And now we can move on to the bottom, and here's what I mean by how the piece is the same size as the top and how it hangs over on the sides a little bit. Once I add the glue and glue it down, those extra little bit on the sides will definitely help keep this casket standing straight up. And let me just tell you, this casket is not wobbly whatsoever. It is super sturdy and it just came out so perfect. Now that the casket sides are glued on, I'm going to use the Dollar Tree spackling, fill in the hole from where the twine was on the original casket sign from Dollar Tree. Then I use my black chalk paint and I go ahead and paint the entire casket black. I used my black folk art chalk paint for this, and I only had to give this entire casket 2 coats, and it completely covered that sign. To give the casket a little bit more detail, I use that same gunmetal folk art metallic paint, and I just place it going along those dowel rod skewer stick wood pieces inside the casket, and then I also place it just lightly going around the top outside of the casket as well. Next, I use my Cricut to cut out this design that I found in Cricut Design Space. It is this really cute home suite haunted home saying. It also had a little bat on top of it, but I had to cut that off so that I could place the bat on there individually, pretty much so that I can place it where I want it to go instead of it being up so high, and then it would not have fit on our casket. So again, I transfer on that home suite haunted home and the bat, and I just think that turned out so cute. Setting our casket to the side for just a moment, you will need a smaller Dollar Tree pumpkin, or really any pumpkin that you have as long as it will fit down at the bottom of your casket, and I just used my black chalk paint and painted the entire pumpkin black. Okay, now listen, this is how you know I absolutely love you guys, because I am about to work with glitter. I hate working with glitter. Even though this pumpkin turns out absolutely gorgeous, I hate working with glitter. But I had a vision in my head and I wanted to bring it to life for you guys, so here it is. I placed a nice bit of Mod Podge down in the indentation of the top of the pumpkin, and then I use my mini chip brush and just start dragging that Mod Podge down over on the side so that it gives us this really streaky, kind of creepy look. I take some of the silver glitter from Dollar Tree and I just start shaking it all over the top of that Mod Podge, and it will stick right to it, shake off the excess, and look how gorgeous. I did also use my black chalk paint to paint the stem of the pumpkin black as well. I did have to kind of speed things up a little bit because this video was getting so long, so I do apologize if things seem a little bit faster than normal. I will be back to my regular speed next video. I hot glued the glitter pumpkin down at the bottom of the casket. Then I'm going to use one of these Dollar Tree skeletons, and I don't really care for the color. It's just really dingy and not so real looking, I guess, and it's just super plasticky. So I take my white Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the color Linen White, and I do a heavy dry brushing. I don't cover it completely. I do let a little bit of that color show, and then I do cut off the hanger at the top on his head and finish painting him white. However, again, I did not want him to be completely white, so I take some black chalk paint and I start dry brushing it along the skeleton, just giving him a little bit more detail and making him look a little bit more realistic. Before I add my skeleton inside the casket, I need to fix his super wobbly head. The heads on these skeletons are crazy wobbly, and I want it to be looking sideways out towards us. So I just add a little bit of hot glue and hold it in place until it is nice and sturdy. To add the skeleton to the casket, I just lean it up against the side and glue that back leg back behind the pumpkin and also to the bottom of the casket. I take the skeleton's other leg and I just place it up so that it looks like it is propped up on top of the pumpkin and kind of stepping up on it. And I don't want to glue it down just yet. I'm going to take some Dollar Tree florals. You could, of course, use whatever florals you would like. I love this pumpkin floral. That beautiful silver matches our pumpkin that we made so well. I bent the stem of the floral in half and I place it right beside the pumpkin, kind of between the skeleton's legs. I do not glue it down just because I was scared of the gluing commitment, so I did not glue anything down just yet. Now I finally do go ahead and glue down the skeleton, gluing his back to the side of the casket and also his foot to the top of the pumpkin. And then you can go ahead and add your pumpkin's stem back on as well. I wanted these spooky little branch picks with these sparkly balls off of this skeleton pick from Dollar Tree, so I just picked it off and placed it down where I would like it. At this point, I did want to add a little bit more height to the flowers, so I just take another one of those same exact floral picks and I stand it straight up in the back, kind of tucking it back behind that skeleton's leg so it does not move or go anywhere. And then I take the floral pick that we bent in half and I put it back where it previously was. So now we have these really pretty flowers. But to make them just a little bit more spooky, I found these floral picks at Dollar Tree that had these little tiny black, like sparkly skulls. So I hot glue one of those in the center of each one of those red flowers. For our skeleton's lantern, Dollar Tree has many different styles. They also have these wood ones that I thought would work really well. And they have other Halloween ones also. But I used this Dollar Tree lantern that I have had for quite some time, and I just took some white chalk paint and I distressed it a little bit. Now I take one of these wood cubes from Dollar Tree, I paint it black with my black chalk paint, and this is what we are going to glue to the side of our lantern so that when we glue it to the casket, it is going to be straight and not like crooked. So basically this is making up for that gap between the casket and the lantern. I do recommend gluing the lantern onto the casket with a really strong hot glue or even E6000 or wood glue, and then I take the arm of the skeleton and make it look like it is holding up our lantern so that it is guiding the way with the light. At this point, you can call it done and this DIY could be done, but of course, again, you guys know me and I always have to go extra. So I kind of thought that it looked a little bit bare up at the top of the casket. So I use another one of these Dollar Tree pumpkin picks and I cut it down. And then I just take a little piece of foam from Dollar Tree. It was one of those round foam discs and I just cut it down to a tiny little piece and I paint it black to blend in with our casket, and I glue it up here at the top of the casket but more towards the right hand corner. Then I just take those pieces from the pumpkin pick from Dollar Tree that I had cut apart and I just start pushing them into that styrofoam piece, and I do kind of make it look like it is going around that top right corner and cascading down the side just a little bit. Now that my florals are all in place, I take one more of those little glittery black skulls off that floral pick from Dollar Tree and I glue it right in the center of that red flower like I did with the red flowers on the bottom of the casket. And oh my goodness, look at how absolutely stunning this DIY turned out. I just love the fact that it is spooky but gorgeous at the same time. I am so obsessed with this DIY. Okay, friends, I have got to know what you guys think of this casket DIY down in the comments. I mean, look at this thing at night with the lights on. Oh my goodness, how absolutely beautiful. As I hit 20,000 subscribers last week, I did a giveaway on my previous video and we are going to announce the winners, and the prizes were the Dollar Tree fall napkins as well as the full 2023 calendar set. And the winner for the complete napkin set is AJ Snoopy, and the winner for the calendars is Donna Bragg. Congratulations and thank you so much for watching and for your continued support. I always leave my email down in the description box. Send me an email so I can get you guys your giveaway prizes. I truly hope you all enjoyed these DIYs as much as I enjoyed sharing them with you, and don't forget to check out the playlist down in the description box to see many more spooky DIYs. I hope to see you all and a few new friends on the next one. Bye!